Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. After the attack on Ghazni and the peace process being derailed or said postponed by the Russian authorities, today we will discuss the future security situation in Afghanistan. For that, today in the studios we have our beloved guest, Major Ahsan. Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Wa alaikum assalam. Thank you.
Sir, again, thank you so much for coming.
It's pleasure.
Sir, we just talked about how exactly the situation has been turned from bad to worst in Afghanistan. First of all, what's your comment on that?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Thank you very much. This is very interesting topic you have picked up and very relevant to the whatever the situation is going on at present, which is prevailing in Afghanistan, which has basically taken the entire region in its grip. And there's a lot of changes which is coming up.
We can see a lot of changes because everything is moving right now.
Absolutely. And there's so much of activity which is going on, and suddenly it has kicked up because of so many interest regions and the realignments with the countries, and their interests are now getting geared up. Absolutely. Now with the Ghazni affair, if you are talking about to begin with, is that reality is reality. And Afghan government and Afghans and others also have to realize they had to basically one day or the other they had to realize that yes, Afghan Taliban are reality. So after the Ghazni attack, that reality has come up and surfaced itself that yes, here they are, this is their strength and they can challenge anything out there. The thing is that the government of Afghanistan is not realizing what Pakistan is trying to suggest to them, or the rest of the world is trying to suggest to them, and the allies of Pakistan in this war are not trying to address that Russia is playing a very positive role, China is playing an extremely positive role.
So why do you think these two countries, before I move forward also, why do these two countries have taken such a long time to even respond to these problems right now?
No, this is very interesting because one was that once the Cold War was going on, Russia had a different design, and altogether the perception in this entire region of the war game was totally different.
Yes.
The narrative was totally different, which has suddenly shifted from geopolitics to geoeconomics. So no, once we talk about economics, and that has prevailed over the other. So that means that the fringe with the conflicts which was going on between these countries with the rest of the countries in this region, that has gone back.
So that you can say that Russia now is showing a very soft image of itself?
Not a very soft image of itself, but Russia has finally realized that yes, that was not the right way, because annexation is not the policy, which Russia has also realized. China, otherwise, that they don't have a history of annexation. It's only the Americans, those who have got the annexation history. They try to invade.
But Russians always have this maximization power, or what they say, power maximization we talk about every time in international relations. Putin himself is a very power maximization person. So
I think there is nothing wrong in if you want to create your state into a bigger state and a stronger state, as Pakistan has emerged as a nuclear state, and Pakistan is now a very strong state. Pakistan is no more a state like Jordan and Syria and
it's very strong
elsewhere. It's very strong. So obviously in this region, once any role is to be given or to be played, Pakistan will play a pivotal role in this region.
So and Pakistan is a major stakeholder in this trend.
Absolutely, and with the alliance with China, and especially for the economic booster for the CPAC which has come in, another alignment direction has taken off in this entire region. So the complexity of this region and overall scenario of this region has changed in last couple of years. It has changed, and very swiftly it has changed.
So for right now, the present situation in Afghanistan is quite very drastically have changed, and it's quite on the climax of it. So how do you see right now? There's elections coming in, there are many parties coming in, the factions are coming in, there's a convergence of ISIS and Taliban, Afghan Taliban. So what options, first of all, Afghan government has?
Now this word which you have used as a climax is a brilliant word, I must say, that you have used, and this is where I also wanted to come on to. Yes, Afghan situation is now coming up to its climax by all these factors which you have just mentioned, that yes, the elections are coming in Afghanistan in 2019.
Yes.
They're around the corner. Obviously, this party is going out. Naturally, the Afghan Taliban getting a foothold, America getting weaker and weaker, its stance no more being supported. Obviously, the others in this region want a greater role to be played by those who are directly involved into it. Like see, the role of America has not been very justified in giving India a greater role to play in Afghanistan.
We have seen policy failures before, but now the policy failure of USA is quite visible.
It was visible, Sidra, then also, but then I think Pakistan never wanted to go that bluntly to expose everything, and the rest of the world in the region, especially these two powers in this region, were also trying to be very watchful in telling someone that this is no more your role and you have to go back. And but they have consistently, they are trying to stay here, they are trying to make justifications to stay here and for a greater role. Just to check China, this should not be done, that you are trying to invade Afghanistan, you are trying to ask Afghan government to give you proper and permanent places, yeah, of course, and bases in there, and then you are trying to have a watch guard like India to watch your interest in Afghanistan and check on mate on China. So you're trying to create that. Now this all game is creating a more complex situation.
Sir, we were talking about the great game, and specifically you just before the break we were talking about the great game, also that what exactly wrongs Pakistan have done.
Now this is very important again. You have agitated this point, and very close to my heart, that it has always been there.
So I think we should first of all look
Pakistan
inside also.
has done a lot of shown weaknesses, like the foreign policy of Pakistan showed its failure while dealing with Afghan situation out there. Then again, Pakistan is a sovereign. No, from the start, I would say that they have not been, after the Cold War. I would say not during the Cold War, but after the Cold War era. From there, the mistakes were repeatedly being done. The situation was totally different. Pakistan had a role to play. Pakistan had a very strong foothold on there. But then why that foothold is no more seen there? Why Pakistan imported all this terrorism into our country? Why Pakistan allowed it even to come into that? It was pushed towards us because of that greater game, which was basically designed against Pakistan, and Pakistan could not read that at that time. I would say that at that particular time, Pakistan should have read that greater game, that yes, now it is.
Maybe Pakistan did have. Maybe Pakistan's policymakers did have, and they did not actually try to understand it, or maybe they did not try to follow it up.
But you need to know that Pakistan is a sovereign country. It's a Muslim sovereign country with 22 million people out there.
We have been known to take dictations from a very long time.
But that is where I'm coming to, that should have stopped there, basically. And that dictation did come only on one phone call. You agree to it, and then you open up everything again. The previous example was very much in front of us. The experience was that after the Cold War, we were just left blank and void right in there. And even that is supported by Hillary Clinton. In one of her speeches, she committed that, yes, we did a folly, that why did we leave Pakistan just like that? Pakistan was a front ally with America to fight a war in Afghanistan. But right after getting
our relationship with USA is ones and zeros, binary codes.
Yeah, that's
if they want us, it's all right. If they do not want us, they shut us away like a tissue paper. I'm sorry.
Yeah, of course. And now again they are doing the same. Why should they give a greater role to India to play? Don't they know that Pakistan is a rival country with India, and India should not be given any role in Afghanistan to play?
So divide.
That is not.
The rule was always the same: divide and rule. That was the British policy,
but
and
that can be their rule.
That was the British policy.
That can be their rule. That can be their rule. But Pakistan doesn't necessarily have to buy that. Everything which is being said or being dictated from outside, Pakistan should not buy it. Pakistan is a sovereign country, which I say, and there's a strong sovereign country, a Muslim sovereign country with nuclear arsenal actively out there. War is no more an option, because if war gets on to Pakistan, that means it's a total destruction, not only limiting to this region, but maybe beyond this region now. So having said this, I would say that Pakistan should watch itself also, that every phone call or everyone is saying something should not be bought. Pakistan needs to watch its interest first. Pakistan first is first. And that is what, it should not be only lip service or just as a slogan should not be used, but practically it should be done that way. For the first time, I think Pakistan has stood for that yes, now this is in the interest of Pakistan, in the present government. Right. I'm saying that they have stood up onto that, and they have said that yes, this is in the interest of Pakistan. We are not going to deviate from here to this point. So that is what is becoming alarming for the Americans, and they are feeling very much aggressive on that. Why Pakistan can do that? We are going to teach them a lesson. We are not going to allow them for any sanctions and all this and that. Iran has done a lot on that, and we should keep Iran in view. They have sustained basically all this pressure.
So we were talking about the nexus of Pakistan, Afghanistan, Iran, and we just talked about the Pakistan failures we did really have. But right now, it's a very nice thing that you mentioned that Pakistan's present political party and the present government, it has taken a very strong role against the US's do more stance which they have. But right now, we also can see that there is a card which is being held by Russia, the postponing of the peace process. What's your point of view on that?
First, let me talk about the present government's role and its stance on any foreign aggression. I think Pakistan for the first time is seeing a foreign minister outrightly out there and working, and the foreign ministry is strongly working. They are, mashallah, going to work stronger and stronger in the interest of Pakistan. Not in favor of any individuals. I would say I am in favor of the policy for which benefits Pakistan. And that is what is close to my heart, and that is what I am trying to make a point here. I think the foreign minister was always required, and the foreign minister has now come in, and they have taken a stance, and they have done, and they are showing cohesion also between civil government and the military exactly. Together working on the same page. And if you know that just yesterday the Prime Minister, along with his top launch entourage, visited GHQ and had a briefing for over 8 hours. He spent in GHQ and he had a detailed briefing on each and every aspect of the Pakistan's military being involved in everything, all that aspects, and in the national security also came under discussions, and so many other things came under discussion. Now, having said this, this is one phase that, yes, of course, Pakistan's interest has to be watched, and I think we should be very confident that yes, now the government is settled in there. They will watch for the interest of Pakistan. That's the reason that the Prime Minister is also very conscious on its commitments and all that. Now, moving on from this to the other thing is that why Russia, has postponed. Now, there's a very small difference. It could have been cancelled also permanently, but they didn't do it. They just postponed it because they know it from where this has been initiated and why it is being initiated, because someone out there is feeling aloof, because if these talks would have gone in, and they might
have been successful. Might have been.
No, not you can say might, but I was thinking, I'm thinking that it would have been 100% successful.
All right.
It would have gone successful, because they would have brought both on the table.
Yes.
Because the Afghan government would have been there, the Taliban would have been there, the Chinese would have been there, and the other rest of the 16 countries would have been there. They would have forced that yes, it has to be peace in this region. So what this peace means to all these regional countries means fortune. But only one country doesn't want this peace to prevail in this fortune, and obviously that would have been stood on a side and neglected totally, and would have in times to come would have had no role to play. So that's why they jeopardized this, and they tried to ask the government, present government in Afghanistan, to basically tell Russia that they will not participate and they should not involve Taliban also because of the insurgent group. Now, this is not an insurgent group. They are the reality, and they are there, and that is the mainstream reality group is there. So they need to sit down with them, and they need to involve. Why, if they call them insurgent group, why did they offer them on Eid al-Fitr for a peace and truce and all that? Why continuously they are trying to go and talk about them? They are an insurgent group. Go and kill them. Just do that if you want to, but they don't want to do that because that's reality, and that's the group they want, and they are doing the rightful thing, the Afghan Taliban, that they want to have peace in Afghanistan, and they want to sit and talk and establish that peace process should go in, and someone has to mediate. Russia has mediated into it. I think they should have allowed it for in the greater interest of this region, for the greater play which is going on should have come to an end in 2018, but now it's again being taken to 2019 till their elections are going to be there. But that won't help them much, because they won't be representative of the entire Afghan public if they don't involve these out factions into the mainstream.
Thank you so much, sir. The Afghan government and Afghan Taliban need to be in consensus with each other and need to be on the same page if they want to create a peaceful and stable Afghanistan and for the betterment of the region also. Thank you so much for today.